Please continue to stand for the national anthem. Please continue to stand for the invocation which will be given today by the interim university chaplain, Byrne Bagby Taylor. Chaplain Taylor.
Let us pray. Gracious God, as we begin this special ceremony, we pause to give thanks for this joyful day and for the journey that has led us to this place. Today marks both an end and a beginning. And amidst this moment of change, we are reminded that you are our constant, guiding us now just as you have each step of the journey. For your faithfulness to us throughout time, we offer our humble and deepest gratitude. We celebrate the accomplishments of these graduates who have completed their course of study, and we acknowledge the hard work and commitment that have brought them to this day. We give thanks for their families and friends whose support and encouragement have sustained them, and for the faculty and staff whose teaching and wisdom have guided them. As we recognize their achievements, may we all be inspired to serve and lead with integrity and compassion. Guide us in the pursuit of knowledge and justice, and grant that we may be agents of peace, hope, and mercy, both now and always. Amen.
Please be seated. Chief Justice Lemons, distinguished guests, colleagues, parents, friends, and class of 2017, it is my privilege as president to welcome you to the 145th ceremony awarding degrees to graduates of the School of Law as part of the 187th commencement of the University of Richmond. I would like to extend a special welcome to the families of our graduates and to thank you for the support and guidance that have helped our graduates reach this moment. It is a pleasure to celebrate this day and their achievements with you. Graduates, we know that years of hard work have preceded this moment, and we applaud your passion and determination. Many of you have told me of the closeness you have enjoyed with your classmates and the attention you have received from the faculty, and of the sense of community that is a hallmark of Richmond Law. Today, as we recognize the individual and collective achievements of the class of 2017, we forward with great hope and anticipation to your continued accomplishments in the years ahead. I am confident that your education has prepared you to make a difference in the world and in the lives of others. And I am grateful that through your service to society, you will help the university to fulfill its commitment to the promotion of justice and the common good. Thank you and congratulations.
Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of the faculty and staff of the School of Law, I too welcome you to this degree ceremony to honor the class of 2017. We turn now to our first speaker. In keeping with our tradition of active student involvement, we ask the class to select a student to speak to them at graduation. This year, they've chosen Quinn Novak as their speaker. I hope you'll bear with me as I tell you a little bit about Quinn. As a student, Quinn was editor of the Journal of Law and Technology, on the Honor Council, an admissions representative, a law student advisor, a member of the Women's Law Association, a member of Phi Delta Phi Legal Honor Society, a volunteer for street law, and for Link. Just for good measure, she also won the 2015 Trial Advocacy Competition and the 2016 Virginia Trial Lawyers Competition. It's been a busy 3 years. I'm very pleased to present to you Quinn Novak.
Today is the day that we finally answer the questions. Will I make it? Can I survive law school? We've all been riddled with these same doubts over the past 3 years. But there are quite a few people here today that knew the answers to these questions all along. Look around you and next to you at the smiling faces in the crowd. They knew that you would survive. They knew that you would be walking across the stage today in your cap and gown and tassels, receiving your Juris Doctorate. For most of us, they've been reminding us that we can do it over and over for years. But for some reason, we just weren't sure if we believed them. No matter how many times your mom and dad told you, it's going to be okay, or a friend reminded you, you're so capable and smart, you just weren't sure. But today, we finally believe them. We realized that we had the strength to do this within us all along. Now, one of my favorite stories of all times is The Wizard of Oz. My parents can attest that I've watched and made them sit through countless iterations of the story. Wicked, The Wiz, Muppet Wizard of Oz, and this sort of terrifying 1985 sequel called Return to Oz, where Dorothy is in an insane asylum and is chased by this headless woman named Mombi. That was definitely a strange version. But my favorite was the original 1939 movie, and one of my favorite scenes was at the very end, when Dorothy is about to go back to Kansas, and Glinda tells her, "You had the power to go home all along." I remember Dorothy asking, "Why didn't you just tell me before?" And Glinda answered, "Because you wouldn't have believed me. You had to learn for yourself." In a way, we're all like Dorothy today, and we had to learn for ourselves that we could do this all along, which is not to say that we did this alone or did this without any help. We had our friends and family helping us, as well as the people that became both of these things to us over the past 3 years. All along this journey, we have learned, like Dorothy, to use our brains, follow our heart, and above all, when things seem hopeless, have courage. It's indisputable that every single one of us has brains in our head and feet in our shoes, to quote another one of my favorite authors. We have learned how to really use these brains over the past 3 years. We have been tested in every way that we could possibly imagine, and in some ways that we never imagined. We have learned to juggle a million things, have another ball tossed at us, and take it in stride without missing a beat. From mock trial competitions, where we frantically scribbled notes to one another, urging our partner to object, to hours flipping through the Blue Book, trying to remember whether you italicized the period after id, to our first civil procedure class, where we got cold called on for the facts of Penoyer v. Neff, and quite literally held up our hands and said, "Jesus, take the wheel." We have come a long way. We have learned to improvise and think on our feet. We can now face real judges and real clients and know what to say and how to respond, or at least do a really good job pretending we know. Of course, as the wizard told the Scarecrow, anyone can have a brain. That's a very mediocre commodity. But today we get something that sets us apart and certifies that we all can think deep thoughts with no more brain than anyone else: a diploma. And every time we look at this piece of paper, we will be reminded that we are smarter than we think and capable of anything. The second thing that we all have that helped us get to this place today is heart. During this journey, we formed friendships with the faculty, professors, and one another. We each took the time to find our passion in some area of the law or extracurricular, whether it was the Federalist Society, volunteering at the Churchill Irish Festival and painting kids' faces all day, or participating in the Children's Defense Clinic. I think one of the most important things for us to remember is this passion and not forget the drive that brought us to law school and brought us here today. Unfortunately, many times we knew we had a heart because it was breaking. We would stumble and fall over and over again, not do as well as we would like to on an exam, lose a competition, not win the championship soccer game after 4 rounds of overtime, not make the moot court team. But the curious things about hearts is they always find a way to mend. And every time we thought, I'm not good enough, someone was always there to listen and tell us it's going to be okay, because they knew we just had to learn for ourselves. Courage is the last and probably most important quality to remember that you have had within you all along. You did this. You survived law school. You faced every obstacle and made it through, whether it was with ease or with a lot of pain and suffering, which it usually was. Each time you failed, you picked yourself up, or you reached out your hand and someone was there to lift you up. Sometimes you found the courage through taking a Zumba class with your friends and laughing at how awful you were at dancing. Or maybe you found the courage at the bottom of a pitcher of beer, but you always found the strength to move on and face those fears again. I urge you to always be fearless and know that you may succeed, except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. And for those times that you don't, you have the strength within you to make it through. So maybe our journey wasn't exactly like the Wizard of Oz, but I did find myself thinking pretty often, I just want to go home. Your future endeavors more than likely won't involve flying monkeys, but you may deal with some really aggressive or unreasonable opposing counsel, and that sounds pretty scary too. Finally, I hope that none of you find yourself in a field full of poppies, and if you do in the next few months, don't forget to disclose it on the character and fitness portion of the bar application. Everyone here knew all along that we had the power within us to complete this journey. They told us over and over when we felt low. They sat up with us during late-night Skype sessions and just listened. They reminded us of why we wanted to do this in the first place. They moved us into our apartments in 100-degree weather, up 3 flights of stairs. They slipped us a $20 bill to help us buy groceries, which we usually use to buy wine. They split countless bowls of mac and Cheetos with us and never once judged us for also wanting to order queso dip. And all of that time, they knew. They knew that we could do this, and today, we know too. And if for some reason you ever forget that you can do it, every single one of these people will remind you, once again, that you have brains, heart, and courage. And with those 3 things, you'll defy gravity. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinn. Each year, the students from the graduating class also select a member of the faculty to speak with them at commencement. This year's faculty speaker is Clark Williams. Professor Williams joined the faculty in 1979. He teaches and writes in the areas of civil procedure, conflict of laws, and structure of the Virginia judicial system. He also has served as a consultant to various court systems and bar organizations on their rules and procedure. From 1995 to 2014, Professor Williams served as the law school's Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, where he demonstrated exceptional empathy and amazing good judgment. It's my pleasure to introduce to you my colleague, Clark Williams.
Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2017 on reaching a truly significant milestone in your life. It goes without saying that you have invested a tremendous amount of time and energy, sacrifice, and dedication into reaching this day. Each one of you has. It is an achievement of which you can be justifiably proud and for which your parents and spouses and other family members and friends are clearly proud of you as well. I'm honored that you've asked me to speak to you today on behalf of the faculty, and I want to share with you and with your family and friends just why this is especially gratifying for me. 3 years ago, as Dean Perdue was just mentioning, as each of you was beginning your law school career here, I was just ending a long term of service in the dean's office, and I was returning to my full-time teaching responsibilities after almost 20 years of teaching a reduced course load. Because of that, I was able to teach 2 of the 3 sections of civil procedure in that fall semester of 2014. For your family and friends, civil procedure is that first semester required course. It's sometimes described as learning a foreign language that actually is taught in English. So 2/3 of you got to struggle with me through some of those bastions of civil procedure like Ponoyer versus Neff and the International Shoe case and many others during those first few weeks of law school. As a result, ever since I have felt a special bond for the class of 2017, and so your honor to me today is especially meaningful. Part of what we hope you have learned, and not just learned but absorbed, is that this legal profession bestows upon you a sacred trust. And as an officer of the court, as an advocate for your client, as a central player in the administration of the rule of law, you will be in a position of trust. That's both a privilege and a very weighty responsibility to bear that trust. Unfortunately, much of society outside the legal profession lacks that sense of trust and confidence in us. Public opinion polls tell us that lawyers rank near the bottom among the professions in terms of public trust and confidence. We hear the cynicism and the disdain and many lawyer jokes that almost always cast the lawyer in an unfavorable light. You've heard the one, "Why can lawyers swim in shark-infested waters without fear of being eaten?" Professional courtesy. This disdain can be seen in the works of some of literature's greatest writers. In his play, Henry VI, Part 2, no less a literary giant than William Shakespeare depicts a group of mercenary traitors to the king, standing around talking about what the government will look like when their insurrection is finally completed. What are we going to do when we get the power? And one of them says to the group that famous line, you've heard it before, "The first thing we'll do, let's kill all the lawyers." Not very encouraging, at least not for those of us who are lawyers or about to be lawyers. Over the centuries, that line has been repeated over and over, usually by folks who are not lawyers. It's often a way of using Shakespeare to give voice to the frustration with our profession. But think about that line for just a moment and who it was that was speaking it. It was the murderous tyrants, those seeking to take over the government, who would use any means, including torture or murder or extortion of those who opposed them. Those were the folks who were seeking to take power and keep it through any means. Those were the folks who would kill all the lawyers. And that's the point. They knew, and we need to hold fast to this truth, that it is the task of lawyers to prevent the tyrants from doing what they want to do, to go to the seat of power, whether it be a government official or a powerful corporation, or an overzealous group bent on running roughshod over the rights of minorities and disadvantaged persons, to go to them and say, "You can't do that." That's the role you've signed up for. That is your charge, and it is an honorable one. On behalf of my colleagues on the faculty and the many staff who have watched you work and sacrifice these last few years, we are proud of you. We relish your achievement, and we share your excitement as you prepare to enter this next chapter of your life. May you make yours a life of meaning and purpose, and may this noble profession help you to make it so. Congratulations.
Thank you, Clark. Joining us on this happy occasion is Edward Barnes of the class of 1972. Ed is not only an adjunct professor here at the law school, but also a very involved and dedicated alum, and a member of the Richmond Law Advisory Board. We're honored to have him here today to welcome you into the ranks of our alumni and to introduce our commencement speaker. Ed?
I am pleased to welcome you as our newest alumni. And frankly, you represent the greatest asset of our fine institution. Our students, our graduates, we are proud of you and proud of the University of Richmond Law School. I look forward to meeting each of you as we work together to support our alma mater. Our principal speaker today is the Honorable Donald Lemons, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Virginia. Justice Lemons' biography is in their program, so I will not take the time to enumerate his accomplishments or honors of his outstanding career. We are honored and delighted that he has accepted our invitation to participate in this law school commencement. It is my great privilege and honor to introduce to you Chief Justice Donald Lemons.
Good afternoon. President Crutcher, Dean Perdue, members of the faculty and distinguished guests, family and friends, and most important of all, you, the graduates of the class of 2017 of the University of Richmond School of Law. 3 years ago, you came here slightly anxious and wondering what the future would hold for you. 3 years later, you're going to get your degree, walk across this stage, slightly anxious and wondering what the future will hold for you. Some things simply do not change. A recent issue of the University of Richmond Law School magazine carried a story about the happy lawyer. I learned that there is a year-long one-credit course that meets periodically on Sunday evenings at Dean Perdue's home and is limited to 10 students because more than that would exceed the capacity of her dining table. What a great idea. What a great setting. To get an invitation to that table, I would volunteer to prepare the meal and I would pour the wine. I think it's that good an idea. I admire the Dean and Professor Courts for legitimizing the subject matter and facilitating discussions while would-be lawyers are still in law school. You see, I know more than a few unhappy lawyers. I could recite statistics, but I won't. I'm committed to being entirely positive in my short time with you today. Today is a day of celebration for law school graduates, for their friends, and for their families. Today, I would like to share with you a few observations about living a life of significance as a lawyer. Success without significance is a breeding ground for unhappiness. I am convinced that there is a most important corollary in our lives between happiness and significance. Thomas Jefferson penned the well-known words of the Declaration of Independence that included the observation that our Creator endowed mankind with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Have you ever wondered why Jefferson just didn't simply say life, liberty, and happiness? I suspect that Jefferson knew that happiness is not a right, unalienable or otherwise. At best, the only right at stake is the opportunity to pursue happiness. Later, the reliably pragmatic Ben Franklin said of the Constitution only guarantees the American people the right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself. And despite the opportunity, happiness appears elusive to so many. Today, individual success is often thought to be the key to happiness. However, many people who the world considers successful because they have attained some level of financial largesse or fame or power, in quiet moments confess that they are nonetheless unhappy. Why is happiness elusive to so many? I am not alone in believing that the key to happiness is in understanding the difference between success and significance. Usually in our society, we define success in life by personal achievement, and by contrast, a life of significance is often defined in values and roles and relationships. Now, to be perfectly clear, there is nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with personal achievement. In fact, there are so many things right about personal achievement, and often the foundation for personal achievement includes a commitment to good character, personal discipline, and service to others, values that do reflect a life of significance. What a wonderful combination it is when a person lives a life of success and significance. The dictionary talks about significance as being importance. As simple as it may sound, the pursuit of happiness in life, and particularly as a lawyer, begins with asking and answering the question, what? What is important to you? The answer must be uniquely yours. It cannot be anyone else's. Unfortunately, many people dive into their careers without wrestling with this fundamental question. Nonetheless, there's still a vague notion of values and roles and relationships that come from upbringing, education, and often religious influences. The size of the gap between what you believe and know to be important and how you are actually living your life is the measurement of discontent. May I repeat that one more time? The size of the gap between what you believe and know to be important and how you are actually living your life is the measurement of discontent. The neglect of your family and friends is far too high a price to pay for any definition of success. Not only is the price too high, it is a frequently cited reason for unhappiness. If you do not fiercely protect this aspect of your life, it will become a casualty. I know a lawyer who by most definitions is successful. He has more than one home, prestigious club memberships, late model automobiles for everyone in the family, and his kids are educated at expensive private schools. He is a partner at a highly regarded law firm and is admired by his peers for his legal skills and abilities. He shared with me his unhappiness. as he told me that he barely knows his wife, and to his children he is little more than an ATM machine. By our society's objective measurements, he is successful. But it is the huge gap between what he knows is important and the reality of his life that is the major source of his discontent. Do you have a passion for something outside the law? I sure hope you do. Is it art, music, photography, cooking, sports, hiking, creative writing, animals, travel? What is your passion? It is often your passion that makes life worth living and brings great joy. It requires a commitment of time, but it rejuvenates your life. Following your passion will make you happier, and you know what? It'll probably make you a better lawyer. Fortunately for lawyers, there is fertile ground for significance within the law. It is found within the values of professionalism extolled by virtually every bar association and court in our nation. What does professionalism mean in the law? Well, leadership and public service is an expectation of members of a learned profession. I'm not quite sure how you will fulfill this expectation. It may very well be that you will serve on the boards of nonprofit organizations involving the arts or organizations providing other needed services in your community. It may be that you will coach children in sport. Perhaps you will sling a hammer for Habitat for Humanity. Maybe you will become politically active. There are so many possibilities, but one of the privileges and duties of being a lawyer is the call to service and leadership in your community, in your nation, and even in the world. An added benefit is that when you are serving others, it will make you happy. Provision of legal services to those who would otherwise not be able to afford them is a privilege and a duty of the profession as well. I urge you to find the access to justice initiatives in your community and to do your share of pro bono work. And when you consider those who are in need, do not forget our veterans, do not forget those in active duty military service and our first responders. I have been asked on many, many occasions what were the most important cases that I handled when I was a practicing lawyer. Most of them were pro bono cases. Do your share. Trust me, it will make you happy. Whether you're in the courtroom or engaged in a transactional practice or involved in the development and application of public policy, lawyers are thrust into the middle of rough and tumble, contentious encounters. Declining civility at the bar has been the source of much unhappiness for lawyers. If you become a member of the Virginia State Bar, you will take an oath, a solemn promise to demean yourself with courtesy. Courtesy to the public, to members of the bench and bar, to court personnel, to everyone with whom you come in contact. It is important to understand that zealous representation of your client and civility are not mutually exclusive in the practice of law. Justice Anthony Kennedy recently addressed this question in a public forum. Let me share with you what he said. Civility is the mark of an accomplished and superb professional, but it is even more than this. It is an end in itself. Civility has deep roots in the idea of respect for the individual. We are civil to each other because we respect one another's human aspirations and equal standing in a democratic society. We must restore civility to every part of our legal system and public discourse. Civility defines our common cause in advancing the rule of law. Freedom may be born in protest, but it survives in civility. It is a high honor to be a lawyer. It's a privilege to hold a client's cause in your hands. The practice of law is a noble profession, but I must tell you, all of us must do everything that is necessary to keep it that way. How about consciously making the restoration and maintenance of civility in the profession one of your highest values as a lawyer? The effort will be challenging. How about letting it begin with you? Your efforts just might contribute to your own happiness. I want to share with you a little-known story about Coach K. Now, you Carolina fans, don't tune me out, all right? Everybody has to agree he's a better-than-average coach. In the run-up to the national championship in 2015, Coach K took a basketball and asked all the players and coaches to write on the ball the names of the people who helped them along the way, the people without whom they would not be where they were. Soon the ball was covered with names as each of them realized that they did not get there by themselves. They had help. Now the ball traveled with them during that year. It was not publicly seen because it wasn't a good luck charm, nor was it a publicity gimmick. Some of the players even slept with it. It was a reminder to each of them of the power of gratitude. Now today you have reached a significant milestone in your life, but you did not do it alone. I challenge you to actively reflect upon those people who helped you. Your parents, your grandparents, your spouse, special friends, teachers who inspired you from elementary school days through college, and law professors, even if they did hide the ball. Make the effort to tell them how important they have been to you. Before you leave here today, thank your law professors for what they have given you. Most of all, leave this wonderful ceremony with genuine gratitude that you are now a lawyer with specialized knowledge, with skills to serve others, and the opportunity to make a difference in this world. When you engage with your friends and family, when you demonstrate leadership and public service where you live and work, when you dedicate some of your skills and abilities to provide legal services to those who cannot afford it, when you are committed to restoring civility in the practice of law, and when every day you remember who helped you get here today, and when you express gratitude for the privilege of being a servant to others, then, my friends, I promise you, you will be successful. More importantly, you will live a life of significance. And most important of all, you will be a happy lawyer. To the graduates here today, congratulations, Godspeed, class of 2017.
Thank you so much, Justice Lemons, for those inspiring thoughts. I'd now like to introduce Associate Dean Jim Gibson, who will present student honors and awards. Jim, there you are.
Thank you, Dean Perdue. Before we do the individual honors and awards, we're actually going to do the law school's third-year class gift. The third-year class gift was established in 2005 and has been growing in size and participation every year since. The educational experience that you have had over the past 3 years was possible in large part because of those that sat in those same seats years ago, the alumni and friends who came before you. And we hope you will continue your generous giving in support of the institution and those that will follow you in pursuit of their legal education. Now the class gift committee representatives, Casey Hoare and Sean Livesey, will present the class gift.
Before we present, I just want to thank the entire class who donated to the class gift. We've done a great job in raising a substantial amount this year, and I specifically would like to thank Dustin Knight, Jim Giudice, and Noelle Sanders, who did a great job helping us to raise the money. So, Casey.
Thank you all for your contributions. We know that it will leave a lasting legacy for those who will follow in our footsteps. It is our honor to present the 2017 Law Class Gift of $2,200.19.
On behalf of us all at the law school, I want to thank you not only for your gift, but for becoming partners in the longstanding tradition of generosity to others. Thank you very much.
I always say I have the best job at graduation because I don't have to write a speech and I get to hand out awards to really, really deserving students. So let's start with this year's recipient of the Virginia Trial Lawyers Association Student Trial Advocate Award. This year's recipient is a talented advocate who was a semifinalist in the John L. Costello National Mock Trial Competition and has done an outstanding job running the Trial Advocacy Board here at Richmond Law. Doug White, if you would please come forward to the podium. This year's recipient of the International Academy of Trial Lawyers Student Advocacy Award was also a semifinalist in the John L. Costello National Mock Trial Competition, as well as a winner of the Virginia Trial Lawyers Competition. One faculty member calls her a natural in the courtroom. I'm talking, of course, about Jamison Kinnan, if she would please come forward. I'm proud to announce the names of the graduating students receiving membership in the Order of the Barristers. There's 10 of these, so if they could just stand and be recognized as I call their name. Bryce Buckman, Brandon Bybee, Ali DeBoer, Jamison Kinnan, Meg Murphy, Quinn Novak, John O'Malley, Adam Relic, Alana Travelli, and Doug White. The winner of this year's Family Law Award has shown exceptional talent and devotion to his clients in the Family Law Clinic. A recipient of the Family Law Certificate, he is a tireless advocate who will surely make his mark in the family law arena. Adam Relic, please come forward. This year's recipient of the National Association of Women Lawyers Award has had a long-standing commitment to advocacy on the behalf of women. Throughout law school, she's been an outspoken voice for women through her involvement with the Ms. JD program and her leadership of the Women's Law Association. Hunter Glenn, please come to the podium. The winners of the American Bar Association Bureau of National Affairs Award for Excellence in the Field of Intellectual Property have done outstanding work in their intellectual property coursework and will graduate with the Intellectual Property Certificate from the IP Institute here at Richmond Law. If the following three could come forward: Dustin Knight, Justin Kraut, and Corinne Moyne. Also, in recognition of his leadership of the Student Intellectual Property Law Association, I told him not to go too far, which provided unprecedented levels of programming and student opportunities both inside and outside the law school for our IP program. The Osville Jackson Jr. Award for Excellence in Intellectual Property also goes to Dustin Knight. The winners of the American Bar Association Bureau of National Affairs Award for Excellence in the Study of Labor and Employment Law have demonstrated excellence in their coursework in the field. If the following three students could please come forward: Rachel Willer, Tom O'Day, and Charlie Ansley. The American Bankruptcy Institute Medal of Excellence goes to a student this year who not only excelled in her bankruptcy coursework, but will soon take her place as a clerk for a federal bankruptcy judge. If Clementina Pavlova would please come to the podium. This year, the faculty have awarded the T.C. Williams Law School Scholarship Award to two students. Both are recognized for their scholarship and outstanding leadership of the Richmond Law Review. Rachel Willer and Sylvia Macon, please come forward. This year, there are also two winners for the Oral Brown Award for Clinical Excellence in the Children's Law Center. Both recipients have demonstrated excellent service to the clinic's clients. Roxanne Milan and Andressa Marquez, please come to the podium. The winner of this year's Cudlip Medal for the highest grade point average at the end of the second year, we're still grading third year, sorry, is Catherine Lennon. Katie, please come forward. This year, the faculty have awarded the Public Interest Law Association Pro Bono Award to two students. The first recipient's work has focused primarily in the areas of housing and property law, volunteering countless hours with such organizations as the Virginia Poverty Law Center, Legal Aid Justice Center, and Housing Opportunities Made Equal. The second dedicated countless hours to federal discrimination suits on behalf of immigrants with the Legal Aid Justice Center, including an asylum case for a young girl involved in sex trafficking in Honduras. If we could have to the podium, please, William Stroud and Jesse Wright. The Nina R. Keston Service Award is not given every year, but only when the faculty believes that a student has shown extraordinary contributions to the school, to the community, and to the legal profession. This year's recipient has contributed in innumerable ways, from her summer work on behalf of immigrant children and low-income tenants, to her 3 semesters of dedication to the law school's clinics, to her own quiet role modeling of grit and determination. In her nomination for this award, a professor said it best, "In all things, there is an exceptional economy inherent in her approach, both economy of language and economy of ego. She is a doer, and her aim is always to get the work done very, very well. But she goes about her work quietly, with remarkable equanimity. Never does she seek out the limelight. Indeed," the professor said, "I have rarely, if ever, met someone who gives so much to those around her, kindness, service, inquisitiveness, intelligence, while taking so little." I'm talking, of course, of Vanessa Alvarez. Finally, a word you've probably all been waiting for, this year's winner of the Charles T. Norman Award for the best all-around graduating student has been a constant force in the law school over the past 3 years. She's been involved in Phi Delta Phi, Client Counseling and Negotiations Board, Moot Court Board, Richmond Women's Law Association, and the University of Richmond Law Review. One nominator stated, and she had many nominators, one of them stated, "She managed to be the hardest worker and dedicated to legal education while putting everyone before herself, often to her own detriment. And as a result, she's universally loved and respected by her peers." If we could have to the podium, please, Amanda Bird.
Graduation is a very special occasion because it gives the university an opportunity to recognize those who have completed the requirements of the faculty and who have fulfilled the expectations of the entire university community. Our warm congratulations go to all of those members of the University of Richmond School of Law class of 2017 as we now prepare to present them with their diplomas. Will the graduating class please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees and upon the faculty's recommendation of completed requirements, I confer upon you the degree of Masters of Law and Juris Doctor of the University of Richmond with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Will the graduating class please come forward to receive your diplomas?
We now recognize the candidates for the Master of Laws degree for May 2017. Faris Abdullah Alamadehesh. Right here. Larissa Sampaio de Cavallo. Juan Andres Trujillo. We now recognize those graduates who completed the degree of Juris Doctorate on January 18, 2017. Alicia Ellen Rowetter. We now recognize the candidates for the Juris Doctorate degree for May 2017. Abdullah I. El Sugar. M. Vanessa Alvarez. Courtney Alexa Anderson. Charles Mikely Ansley. Dylan L. Arnold. Ryan P. Azalone. Brent Allen Ashley, who is also receiving his Master's of Business Administration degree. Joshua Akil Barber. Sarah Ashley Barnett. Erin Lee Berquist. Amanda Harris Bird. David Byro. Nicholas R. Bittner. Bryce Eric Buckman. Brandon Thomas Bybee. Richard Clay Campbell. Joseph Lawrence Cantor. Stephen Edward Dean Conklin. Alexandra Wallace Cook. Brett Gregory Daniel. Christopher P. Daniels. Allison Linnell DeBoer. Rachel A. DeGraba. Philip David Demanchek Jr. Benjamin S. Desart. Angeli Rose DiMartino. Christopher Doyle. James Maitland Eaton. Nick Daniel Emmons. Enyunam O.K. Enenful. Alexander Atwood Frazier. Kimberly Marie Fricker. Catherine Brunson Frisch. Joseph Nelson Frost, who is also receiving his Master of Business Administration degree. James Martin Judice. Hunter M. Glenn. Stephen Andrew Grimm. Jordan Mitchell Grubbs. Bonky Tedessa Godina. Jonathan Mark Harrison II. Brooke Danae Hartman. Matthew D. Hawkins. Curtis Frederick Hazelton Jr. Gabrielle S. Heim. Casey Lee Orr. Daniel P. Hogan. Kevin Lauren Hubbard Jr. Lucinda Elizabeth Calantha James. Rebecca G. Jennings. John T. Jesse Jr. Sarah Clayton Jesse. Alyssa Karahalaios. Let's try that again. Karahalaios. Heidi Elizabeth Kaiser. Jameson M. Canan. Dustin Michael Knight. Justin Daniel Kraut. Brian Michael Hazen Landrum. Tia Marie Lane. Catherine Elizabeth Lanin. Sean Galvin Livesey, who is also receiving his Master of Business Administration degree. Harrison Witten Long. Jonathan Kyle Lauder. Jenny Susanna Lyman. Gwendolyn Blair McIver. Sylvia Elizabeth Macon. Sarah Elizabeth Malik. Andressa P. Marquise. Blair Maureen Matthias. William Mercer May. Danielle Jones Mayfield. Alexander Ryan McDaniel. Michelle Diane McDonald. Lauren Michelle McGarry. Joseph Thomas McNally Jr. Colin Edward McNamara. Paul Bradenham Michelle IV. Roxanne Claire Milan. Corinne Roshan Moyni. Derek Richard Malino. Hanjing Moon. Megan Rebecca Murphy. John Francis Nackerman. Ethan Walker Nelson. Dajiong Nia. McKaylee Alexa Noreen. Quinn Barbara Novak. Thomas Duggan O'Day. John Patrick O'Malley. Kerrigan Catherine Kells O'Malley. Emmanuel Itunu Oluwa Olu Jede. Jonathan Ray Packard. Michael Thomas Patterson Jr. Clementina V. Pavlova. Lauren Nicole Pennington. Jacob Henry Pierce. Caitlin Nicole Potter. Michael David Provencher. Justin Crawford Pugh. Hobart F. Reed III. Adam Donahue Relic. Megan Macaulay Reardon. Lauren Ashley Ritter. Rachel E. Rubenstein. Jacob Robert Samuelson. Noelle Elizabeth Sanders. Nicole L. Sandora. Matthew Jameson Schmidt. Jessica Marion Selway. Stephanie S. Surin. Natalie K. Shaw. Chelsea Lee Schrader. Emily E. Smith. Kendra Ruth Smith. Trevor William Soderholm. Michelle Sontag. Caitlin P. St. Clair. William Robert Stroud. Ryan Christopher Suit. Biniam Tasfamariam. Joseph John Tolman. Alana Rochelle Trivoli. Jeffrey William Truitt. Christian Ferris Tucker. Gregory James Turner. Selsha Van Niekerk. Marika Martin Van Ryan. Christian A. Vega. Erin Martha Vincent. Ivana R. Wade. Aaron K. Waldo. Caitlin Maria West. Douglas Edward White. Rachel Patricia Willer. Jessica N. Wright. Jamie Lee Yowell. The following candidates are receiving their degrees today from various family members who are alumni of the University of Richmond. Emily Catherine Bowles, presented by her father, Mark K. Bowles, Richmond Law Class of 1989. Cole B. Dadswell, presented by his great-uncle, Robert O'Hara, Richmond Law Class of 1967. Turn for the photo. There'll be a photo. Chance McKinley Esposito, presented by his parents, Mark Esposito, Richmond Law Class of 1983, and Faith Esposito, Richmond Law Class of 1983. Theodore Eugene Fort, presented by his sister, Emily Connor Kennedy, Richmond Law Class of 2012. Jonathan Gilson Castenbaum, presented by his brother, Drew Castenbaum, Richmond Law Class of 2016. Matthew Walton O'Toole, presented by his father, Michael J. O'Toole. John Westwood Smithers III, presented by his parents, Westwood Smithers, Richmond Law Class of 1972, and Nancy Ellen Keene, Richmond Law Class of 1982. Mallory Taylor Brennan, given by her father, Mark Brennan, Richmond Law Class of 1986.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in saluting the graduating class of 2017. Let me just say briefly to the class of 2017, each of you has worked very, very hard for this accomplishment and deserve to be congratulated. But you did not get here alone. You stood on the shoulders of parents and grandparents and spouses and friends and siblings. So I would ask you to take a minute and stand and turn and say thank you to the people who brought you here. This concludes the graduation ceremony. Please remain seated for the recessional. Our new graduates, you are going to be following a bagpiper to lead you to where the reception is. We've found sometimes people have some difficulty figuring out where exactly they should go for the reception. We've decided to make it really easy. Follow the bagpiper. Thank you all. I look forward to seeing you at the reception.